morning, everyone. We will start with in-person media first with Slim, and then we'll move over to Zoom.
Hey, what's up, Slim?
What's going on?
I'm gonna ask a little bit about the other night, first of all. When you went back and watched video, what stood out the most to you that you're really pleased with, and some things that, still first games, a lot to work on still also.
Yeah, I guess for me, after like going back watching it and then watching it with the team and talking with the coaches, it was just really, really apparent that everybody knows they was looking for it, the defensive presence, right? And there were a couple possessions where we were just, like on the ball, we were scrambling, we started to figure out, even if we weren't in the right spots, we had the effort to get to the ball and stop the ball. So for us, I think that's one thing that really, really stood out. And then I guess, being at the first game, there were some moments on offense where we were kind of on top of each other and we're still learning like each other's chemistry and spacing. So it's one of those things where we just got to keep practicing. And again, it's like only the first game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And first full game, how did you just feel as far as fitting in with the group? It was actually, you were one of the most talked about people. Everybody was like, "Ooh, she fit in seamlessly."
Yeah.
So I'm curious, did it feel like that to you?
It felt normal, we've been practicing for a couple weeks now, but I think it was pretty apparent that I made a really, really good decision when it came to free agency. And the feeling is mutual between me and the Mystics of, coming together and joining forces, because it's been nothing but fun thus far. We only had one game.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
First off, how you doing, Slim?
Good.
Question for you: how do you kind of digest that first game and then build off of that and come into this game for tonight, for today?
I take everything like game by game, day by day. So it's one of those things where, you had a game against New York, you did good, but all right, we playing against Connecticut today. How could I be better? And so that's how I kind of take everything, because one of the biggest things I spoke on like going into the season was consistency. That's been a big factor in my career, and I feel like I'm in a place where I can be that. There's not going to be many variations. There's not going to be changes in lineups and all those things. Like anything can happen, but I believe that I'm in a place where I can be myself consistently and not have to question a lot of things that I've questioned in the past.
And then one more: when you're on the road, I know players say they really kind of get up for that. What's the mindset for you? The crowd against you, you're not with home, but you got to be in the trenches with your teammates. How does that kind of get you excited for this game?
I don't know what word to use, but I feel like I get a little bit crazy in the mind, because I be thinking that every away game is a home game for us. No, but you know what I mean? Like, in a manner of, like the crowd is going against you, some with you. There's fans that admit like we are fans of you. So for real, it is kind of like a home game. No disrespect, like trying to be shady or anything, but it's just more so that mentality of, y'all came here to see a great game, and that's what we want to give. At the end of the day, people paid money to come see us play, so why not just go out there and play hard? There's people who want to play, so why not play hard? Because you are. So that's kind of like my mentality when I go into them type of games and going into away games.
Appreciate
it. No, it was just, they took your chair away. Oh, they ate my armrest. Okay, there you go, sweetie. Yeah. All right.
That's all good.
What's shooting?
Yeah, it's a little hot out there.
It is.
The lights are bright out there.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I forgot my contacts for the lighting. I'll tell you later.
This is one for both of y'all. How do you kind of prep for a game like today where, they've got some changes on their team, but they've also got a core that's been there that you guys are super familiar with. But obviously they're going to look a little bit different with new coach and a couple other different pieces. What's the challenge in trying to prep for that when you don't exactly know what the kind of changes are going to be? Probably similar to New York.
Kind of sound like us, looking.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like a...
I've been talking.
Oh, I think the biggest thing is locking into what the coaches have prepared for us. Obviously, we don't know everything that they're going to do, but like you said, they do have a core. And most of the people, if not everybody on this team has played in the league at some point. So I think this is a time where you really have to lock in a personnel. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you went back and looked at the tape first game, what stood out to you?
Just
On the rewatch.
on the rewatch. I enjoy playing with this team. I think that it's evident in kind of the way that we play together, the way that you see us kind of pointing, smiling, laughing, but also being very aware of how we can attack people and the way that we kind of want to do it. I mean, obviously everybody's kind of identity hunting right now. But I think one thing that was evident to me, I mean, not X's and O's, but the amount of joy that we played with together. And that's something I was really excited to see.
Is there a weight lifted off your shoulders when you know Elena is steadily available as opposed to like, no, or like this is one of those days. Like, it almost feels like you're like a brain. Everyone's role shifts, right?
Yeah.
So, what's it like now to have some kind of consistency?
I mean, I think anybody in this league would love to play with Atlanta Deladon every night. So, yeah, I mean that. I'm happy for her. More than anything, I'm happy for her personnel, like her personally. I think it was important for her to take her off season and be able to do the things she needed to do to be who she wants to be this year. And I'm grateful to have Atlanta Deladon as my teammate.
What does she do for you specifically in terms of like when you play with Elena? You're okay, this allows me to do what?
Yeah, well, she attracts a lot of attention. So at any given night, it allows the floor to just open up for pretty much everybody else because guarding her one-on-one isn't ideal. She's gonna at least take 1.5, 2, and so opens up the floor for everybody else.
Hey, Ariel, I just want to go a little bit deeper with that. You've been talking about all training camp, but the joy, some people work, but like you all have a joy on your face. How has that made it this season so special with just 2 games in?
Yeah, I mean, it just makes your job easier and it makes it doesn't feel like work. When you coming in and you're gonna have somebody greeting you at the door. You're gonna walk in and speak to everybody in the room. There is no pettiness, so to say, or like I don't know. It just feels good, honestly, and it makes work not feel like work.
And same thing I asked the Slim. I'm asking you, when you're on the road, what's the mentality? Everybody's kind of against you, but there's some people here for you. What's that? How do you lock in and kind of relish that the fans are who are or who?
Yeah. For me personally, I just lock into my teammates and I look my teammates in the eye often. I think on the road, no matter where you go, it's gonna be hard. Connecticut is a place with a great fan base, but at the end of the day, it's about us and what we can do out there on the floor.
Appreciate you.
Ariel, first off, here goes my
Thank you.
With so much conversation, and this is one for you, Slim, with so much conversation this offseason with the super team, all of this thing. How do you guys feel that is this a kind of we're under the radar, or is this a kind of, continue to talk about the other team while we continue to play our game and do what we do? Like, I feel like you guys are in a great position, definitely a contender, but with so much conversation on everything else, do you guys embrace the fact that people are not talking about Washington and use that as like the motivation, or you kind of like that people aren't talking about you? That way you can kind of play your game and stay under the radar.
I mean, I see it as this, and then this is like me on the outside, like when I wasn't with Washington, right? They always had a demeanor, or the organization always carried this culture and this stature where you don't ever have to question if who they were. So it's like if you didn't talk about them, they made noise regardless. You do talk about them, they live up to the hype. So then I come a part of this team and it's like, all right, all these super teams being talked about, and that's fine. Like, that's cool. Give them that title. We're a team. Whether you put super on top of it, whether you put, like in the middle, it doesn't matter. We're still a team, right? Like, still a team. We still got to figure out how to get one ball in the basket. Like, and so that's what we focus on. Teams, they talked about all these teams. They don't talk about us. That's okay. Like, that is okay. You will eventually, or you don't have to at all. People are going to say what they want to say. They're going to feel how they want to feel. We can't change that. All we can control is who's in that locker room, who goes on that court, and what our game plan is. Like, that's all we literally worry about. And, like, we hear it, but we don't let it affect us. So if anything, the questions about the super teams is more like, damn, man, actually like having to go play them. Like, we like, damn, another one. Like, so, I mean, but it comes with the territory. Like, it is what it is. It's part of our job. Like, people want to know, and we got to answer it some way, somehow. So it is what it is.
Going to Zoom.
We'll go to Zoom. Start with Jen.
Hello. Couple questions for you both, really, both or either of you. First thing, going back to some of what you guys talked about earlier, playing Connecticut twice, today and then on Tuesday, is it helpful early in the season to be able to lock in on one opponent for 2 games, or does it not really matter to you guys?
Yeah.
It depends on how you look at it, I feel. Like, yeah, you get that playoff feeling early, but then you also play a team early. And who was to say when we play Connecticut next, they could be a totally different team by the time we see them again at the end of the season, or see them and potentially in a playoff type of thing. Like playing them early doesn't make it's a hit or miss. Like you want to get that win early, get the series early, but at the same time, things change throughout the season. So it's again, like I said in the beginning, like it's on how you look at it and how you want to come at it when playing a team twice early.
And then, for both of you individually, how do you feel like you played individually on Friday? You both kind of talked a fair amount about like what you took team wise from the film, but how do you look at your individual game? How does the shot feel? Is there anything you want to do differently today?
I mean, I think for me, last game I was really trying to find a rhythm. And that's just kind of for me, that's always been kind of the early part of the season, just trying to find the ebb and flow within the game, within our team, figuring out the things that we want to do, figuring out kind of the ebb and flow of not only who we are as a team, but who each player is personally, trying to implement some of the things that everybody's walked in and worked on in the off season. So for me, it looked like, and I felt like I was trying to find a rhythm, and I kind of got going a little bit, but I mean, I feel good about where I'm at.
Kind of the same thing. I mean, for me, being just new on a team that's been together for a while now and trying to find my flow, but credit to everybody. It feels like I've been here already. So it's not really hard to try and figure out, how to play my game per se, because it's really just our game coming, like all of our games coming together. And I wouldn't change anything. Obviously, just keep playing hard, keep being consistent. I feel like most of the looks that I had were out of us flowing from defense. So I know, I can generate a lot of energy there. So I'm going to keep looking to do that for my team and push the pace and just have fun with them.
And last thing for me, Slim, did you mention on Thursday maybe needing a pair of earplugs for ESA? Did the atmosphere kind of live up to your expectations?
I mean, yeah, always. I always need a pair of earplugs in there.
Awesome. Thank you both.
No problem.
And then we'll go last question to Patrick.
Hey, Slim, I kind of had a similar question to what Jen just asked. I was going to ask about that atmosphere. I mean, from you coming into Washington, playing against Washington in the past, and being on the other side of that, just what were your thoughts on that? Just not only being the first home game, your first game, but also being against a highly talked about opponent.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I don't know, we were having a talk like in the locker room beforehand or training, I don't know which one, but it was like the difference between like nervous and anxious. And I feel like when you're nervous, you haven't prepared, whereas anxious, you're just jittery. You ready to go, you ready to get out there, you ready to do it because you've done the work. So you just that waiting, that anticipation is kind of, getting under your skin. So for me, I feel like it was a lot of anxious vibes for me. But then once I got out there on the floor and dapped my teammates up and I hear the crowd yelling and we see the intro video, like slowly but surely, you know what I mean? Like you see the intro video and you like, like, all right, the anxiousness starts to dwindle more and more. And then the jump ball comes and it kind of like shoots back up really quick. But once that ball is in the air and literally as I see, like JJ hitting the ball, I'm like, it's game time. Let's go. So just finding those moments of gratitude within that, within that day. And I think the biggest one was just being able to just share the court with my teammates after 6 years of trying to find what I found here. It was really rewarding.
And then to look at your stat line, I mean, you definitely did a little bit of everything. I mean, 9 points, 5 steals definitely jumps out. I mean, not rebounds too. I'm sorry, not rebounds and 5 steals definitely jump out. What is it? I mean, you were definitely, a lot of people were expecting that when they talked about you coming to this team. Though doing those type things on a court, what does that mean to you though? Like kind of what is your drive? Because everybody doesn't want to play defense. Everybody not necessarily wants to hit the boards. but what is it a part of that game for you that kind of drives you?
Well, I mean, I always say, there was a moment where I couldn't. So now that I have the opportunity to do it, why would I waste it? Is them 2 ACLs in college taught me everything I needed to know and then some about just playing the game hard. So the things I'm doing, that's not hard. Like people make it hard because it's an effort thing. Me going to get a rebound, me going wanting to play defense, get a stop, not have somebody score on me. Like all those things is just things that I dedicated my game to because there was a moment in my career where I couldn't do those things. And I saw people wasting those opportunities. And so I just wanted to make sure that, if a kid watched me or if a teammate watched me or anybody watched me, they can't go back and be like, man, Slim wasn't playing hard. Slim don't play. I'd be damned if somebody could say that now. Because before I didn't, but now I do. Like every time I made that promise to God, like if I can play again, if I can get back to where I was and then some, I would not play this game no type of soft. Like I always play hard.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Both. We will-
CJ,